Hey, it's Nay, and welcome to Hey Nay. So, the topic for today's episode is clothes and dating. And since Halloween is just right around the corner, I thought I'd start with this question first. Doesn't matter what costume your significant other is wearing. This is a tough one, and I know this is this is something that I know some people may not necessarily vocalize, but definitely think about. And I would say it does matter. I would say it matters in some shape or form. But I will also try to figure out why they chose that costume. I know some people are going for a particular look, a very, very scary look, a very, very weird look, very, very funny look. Some people even go for a very, very offensive look. Even a lot of people go for a very sexy look for Halloween and things like that. I don't. I just think that understanding the choice, understanding what's behind the choice first, because if someone is, being someone that a lot of people generally don't really like. So, for instance, if someone is dressed up as like Stalin or something, then you would probably want to know why, or what's behind that. You know what I mean? If they have some, you know, Soviet Union tendencies, I don't know whatever that means, but essentially what I'm saying is that is it is it an indication of their regular behavior, or is this something they're just doing for as funny? And is it necessary, or could there have been a better choice? So I would be careful about that. Of course, I also want to talk about when it comes to dressing provocatively, especially for Halloween. Um, okay, there's nothing wrong with dressing how you would like to dress. But I would also be very cautious and very careful. A lot of the material sometimes that we use is not as strong or easy, or even as warm as you would like to use. So you need to keep that in mind. Um, and Halloween can be a little, scary, of course, but it can be somewhat dangerous. And I would just try to always be on alert of that. And because I know sometimes, even when you have a significant other and you guys are dressed up in costumes and things like that, you may necessarily be with each other the entire time, or you may be going to separate parties or separate events and things like that. So I would just like to err on the side of caution. Um, I don't think that anyone is too old for Halloween to dress up for Halloween. So even if you're like 60 something years old and you're dressing up for Halloween, that's really great. I don't have no qualms about that. So there's no limit on what you can wear and what you can't wear. So I think that's fun. It's I like to see the day as just a day that everyone gets to dress up and be somebody else for a day. That's how I view it. Um, and I think if I because I view it that way, it's a little bit more acceptable for people to just, you know, try to be someone they're not. Um, I think that's a good answer to that. Doesn't matter what clothes your significant other is wearing, and should you have a say? Now we're sort of getting more into a broader sense. So first I was just talking about costumes, but now we're talking about clothes in general. Does it matter, and do you have a say? Okay. Um, Again, it does matter what clothes your significant other is wearing. Um, I do think that there are there are appropriate clothes for appropriate occasions. So, like a lot of people always ask me personally, um, "Wow, Nay, you look nice, or you look nice," and I look, and people say like, "Oh, like I interchange. My look constantly changes," and I like that. I like the fact that I'm able to do that. If you change up your look a lot, sort of becomes norm in people's eyes. So, you know, some people who know me, seeing me in a hoodie, seeing me in a suit, and, seeing me with a t-shirt and, shorts is a normal thing. That's a normal view. It's not out of the ordinary, because they know that I dress for different events, and I'm appropriate where I need to be appropriate at, and things like that. And I think if we all think that way, then there's not necessarily an issue. Um, should you have a say in what your significant other is wearing? I don't. I think you can voice your opinion, but you have to be very careful. I will have to say this, please, please be very careful. I would never offer. I wouldn't really offer an advice of what to wear. I would recommend before your significant other is getting dressed, to be like, oh, it would be nice if you wore this, or I really like it when you wear this, those are, ideas, suggestions, to get them to sort of potentially do that, especially if they know that someone they care about likes certain things that they wear, then they may wear it more often. Now, if they already have clothes on and you are asked, how do I look, or which looks better, it's very hard question. Um, but it's always best, this is my recommendation. It's always best to go with sort of what they're already wearing, usually. So if they're already wearing, like, I like what you're wearing right now. That seems, I like that. I like that on you. Or, you're better than this than I am. And because usually someone who asks a lot of questions about clothing typically takes a lot of time to consider their clothes. So, if your significant other is someone who constantly asks you, they might be a little bit more fashionable or into their physical attire more than you do. So it's okay for you to say, like, you're a little bit more into this than I, or you're a little bit more fashionable than I am. So I think whatever you choose will be best. And I think that's a cool way to sort of caress the situation without it getting heated or into different types of things and becomes a fight or something. We can definitely avoid that circumstance. Is it weird to coordinate? Okay, so first, we are not adolescent Olsen twins that we need to dress alike all the time. But I do not see nothing wrong with occasionally dressing alike. Should you always dress alike anytime you go out? No. But dressing alike and coordinating is not necessarily the same thing. So, a woman wearing a red dress and a guy wearing a red tie is coordinating. And I think that is great. I think that's great, especially if you're at an event and you want to let people know that the two of you are together, and you represent a team or things like that. I think that is totally, totally fine. But when it comes to dressing actually as with the same clothes, that should be a blue moon. That should be very rare. That should be, not an everyday thing, not an every week thing, not an every month thing. I probably wouldn't even say an every year thing. It should probably be something that just happens at some time. If it happens at Halloween, that is totally fine. That's a good exception to wear things like that Halloween. And it's okay to coordinate for Halloween. I know a lot of people do it, and I actually really like those types of costumes because it shows there's a lot of time and effort, and again, it shows the team effort and that that you and your partner are together, even in this occasion. So a lot of popular ones I've seen in the past have been, Superman and Wonder Woman, or Superman and Supergirl, or Batman and Batgirl and Batman, and all these things. I like those a lot. I've seen SpongeBob and Patrick. That's been cool. There's a lot of different things. A lot of people have done like different types of treats and things like that. Like Snickers and, Hershey's or Hershey's and Kisses and things like that. And you sort of playing on the idea. And I think those ideas are great. So coordinating is okay. Again, if it's about warranting the occasion and to showcase that you're a team or you're a united front. Dressing alike is something that should be very, very rare, and I would caution doing that. But it's not weird. I wouldn't say things are weird. If you dress alike every single day, that's weird. I think that's okay for me to say. Okay, but that is that. I do want to say that this is the 70th episode of Hey Nay, which I am very proud of. And I would like you all to do something for me. Just because it's the 70th, I would like you to all enjoy your Halloween weekend. And remember to always start your day off with a hey. Goodbye.